Hello, welcome to this lecture. So, in this lecture, we are going to discuss the theory of foundation design. And this is the content that we are going to cover in this lecture. So, till now, in this course, we have designed various structure elements like the beams, slabs, staircases, columns, and generally these elements are placed above the uh, ground level, and therefore the element is known as superstructure. So the structural part which is above the ground is known as superstructure, and which is below the ground, or which means up to the plinth, it is known as substructure. So here in this diagram you can see the lower part of the building up to the plinth level is known as uh, the substructure, and the part of building above the plinth level is known as the superstructure. So till now we have designed the elements which were related to the superstructure, and the substructure, which is consisting the foundation structure, we are going to cover in this lecture. Now we know that all the structures, whether it is a building, bridge, highway, tunnel, dam, tower, whether it is constructed below the ground or on the surface, below the surface or on the surface of the earth, they all have a foundation. And this foundation is, all the foundation of the soil, it is basically placed on the soil. And therefore, for the stability of the foundation, we need to study the soil. So as to check the suitability of a soil to be used for the foundation or construction material, we need to understand the properties of the soil so that we can decide what kind of foundation we are going to construct on a particular soil. Because in the nature, soil found in the nature, it is of various types and behaves differently in different type of load. So therefore, the properties of the soil is required to be assessed. So assessment of geotechnical properties of subsoil at project site is very necessary to generate a relevant input data so that we can decide what kind of foundation can be constructed for a proposed structures. And this is required to be done because a proper design and construction of a structure will ultimately prevent the adverse effect of the load. It may be an environmental impact, or it may be any structure failure, or uh, maybe post-construction problem. So therefore, the study of the foundation and the subsoil is required to be assessed properly. So the information about the surface and subsurface features is very important for the design of structure. So surface is basically on the ground, and subsurface below, which means below the surface. If we are constructing any structure, say if we are constructing tunnel below the ground, so that comes under the domain of subsurface feature. So therefore, it is very important to understand what is the condition, what is the topography, and all the relevant, or whether it is a plain ground or undulation is there. So all these conditions is very important to understand before constructing any building, so that we can plan the construction technique for constructing any structure. So now, if a building is imposing a heavy load, then the zone of influence within the soil will be very deep. And it would be very important, and it would be very desirable to understand the subsurface conditions of the soil exploration. So what is the zone of influence? For example, in this case, if this is a building and this is the weight or total load of the building, then as we know that it is placed on the soil. The foundation of the soil, the building is placed on the soil. Now soil will be active to resist this load. So higher is the load, higher will be the zone of influence. So any problems, if there is any problem in the zone of influence, then it will directly impact to the building. in various terms. It may be the settlement of building, or it may be the collapse of the building. So therefore, it is very important to assess the property of the soil so that we can decide what kind of foundation we are going to provide here. So now, if there are complex structures, for example, if we are constructing bridges, dams, multi-story buildings, then in that case, we have to study the soil properties in detail. We actually need to make the soil report in very detailed form. We need to study the type of soil, where is the water table, what kind of soil is this, what is the strength of soil, what is the bearing capacity of the soil. So there are various things that we need to determine when we are going to construct heavy structures, because heavy structures require safety. So for that purpose, detailed exploration of the soil is required. We will discuss more about the soil exploration in the later slide. So first, we will first understand what is the geotechnical properties of the soil. Well, this geotechnical property of the soil, it is completely a different subject, which is called geotechnical engineering. But here in our lecture, we will review the properties of the soil very briefly. So here, so basically there are different geotechnical properties of the soil, and they are actually dependent on each other. Now, the first property of first property of soil is basically the specific gravity. Well, if we define specific gravity, it is basically a ratio of the density of a substance to the density of a given reference material. Well, here, if we are going to find out specific gravity of soil, then that substance will be the soil. And generally, we compare this with a reference material, and generally, we consider this reference material as water. So basically, the ratio of density of soil with to the density of water is basically called the specific gravity. Now, generally, specific gravity of water is 1, and if any material is having specific gravity more than 1, then in that case, that material will obviously sink. If the specific gravity is less than 1 for any material, then it will not sink, it will simply float on the water. So this is how we can imagine the property, this specific gravity. Well, this specific gravity is very important uh, to understand the qualitative behavior of the soil, and also to understand the soil mineral classification. Whether there is, if there is iron in the soil, then the specific gravity of the soil is higher. So this specific gravity of the soil, it also gives about an idea the suitability of the soil, whether soil is suitable for the foundation or not. And if the value of specific gravity is higher, then it means the bearing capacity of the soil will be higher, and therefore we can construct roads and foundation on that kind of soil. If the specific gravity is lower, then obviously bearing capacity of the soil will be lower. So therefore, this property, specific gravity, it gives an indication whether the soil is suitable for the foundation or not. Also, this specific gravity, we can use this specific gravity to calculate other parameters of the soil. For example, the void ratio, porosity, degree of saturation. Well, these are the different parameters when we are going to study soil in the detail. So, so first I will give you some insights of this, what is a void ratio, porosity, or degree of saturation. So here I will show you that on the different page. So here you can see the diagram for the soil. Well, soil, if we try to find out soil, or if we try to define soil, soil is basically the grains, solid grains, along with some voids. So here, if we try to differentiate soil, in this you can see there are some solids of the soil, and in between the solids there are some voids. There are some voids. Now these voids may be filled with the air or may be filled with the water. So basically, we can model this diagram as a 3-phase or two-phase diagram. Now, if these voids are filled with air and with water, then we can define this soil as a three-phase diagram. In this, you can see we have divided this diagram in three parts. One part is solid. The second part is water, which is filled in some of the voids. And in some of the voids, it is filled with air. So this becomes the three-phase diagram. Now, if all the voids are filled with water, then that kind of soil is basically the submerged soil, like the soil in the submerged water. So that kind of soil is known as fully saturated soil. And if all the voids are filled with the air, then we call the soil as dry soil. Now, based on this three-phase diagram, we can have, we can develop some relations to understand various parameters of the soil. So here, if we try to define soil in terms of weight parameter and volume parameter, so here you can see in terms of weight parameter, if we consider this part as the weight of solid, and then if we have some water in the voids, then we can consider this as the weight of water, which is WW. And weight of air, well, basically weight of air is negligible, so therefore generally we don't consider this weight of air. So in the total weight, we only consider weight of solid and weight of water. But in case of volume parameter, when we consider the same diagram for the volume parameter, so in that volume of air is very significant, and therefore we consider volume of air in case of volume parameter. And similarly, we can have volume of water and volume of solid. So volume of air plus volume of water, it consists the volume of void. And the total of volume of air, water, and volume of solid, it is basically the total volume of soil. So in case of total weight, we consider only weight of water and weight of solid. But in case of total volume, we consider volume of air also. Now, based on these parameters, volume of void, volume of air, water, solids, we can develop various relations. So for example, if we consider the weight parameters, if we consider first the volume parameters. So here, in volume parameters, the first parameter is known as void ratio. It basically gives us the indication how much voids is there in a particular soil. And void ratio can be calculated as the ratio of volume of void to the volume of solid. Similarly, porosity is again very similar to the void, but here in the denominator we have total volume of the soil. So that is the only difference. And also we express porosity in the soil in percentage. And there are some interrelation with the void ratio and porosity. So here we have some relation that we can use. So I am just showing you some of the relations which we generally use to define a soil and to find out the various parameters of the soil. And for example, if we want to find how much a particular soil is saturated, because in the nature, most of the part of the soil, it is generally partly saturated, which means some parts of the void are filled with water, some parts of the void is filled with the air. So in that case, we need to find out what is the degree of saturation, how saturated it is. So we can find out that with this relation. Similarly, what is the air content in the soil? So air content can be defined with volume of air to the volume of void. So similarly, what is the percentage of air voids? So we can find out that with it, volume of air divided by total volume of soil. So this is how, so this can also be written, yes, percentage of void. So that was the formula related to the volume. Now, if we want to find out basic relationship with the weight parameter, so here, if I show you the diagram again, so till now we have seen the relation in terms of volume parameter. Now we will see some of the relation in terms of weight parameters, where we will be using weight of water, weight of solid. So with that, there are various parameters which can be developed with it. So for example, if we want to find out what is the moisture content in the soil, so we can define moisture content with this weight of water to the weight of solid. So generally we express this in terms of, in percentage. Similarly, uh, if we want to find out the unit weight of the soil. So till now, earlier we have seen the specific gravity, specific gravity, which generally we express as G. So it is basically the ratio of density of soil. Now here we have to define whether it is dry density or bulk density or density of soil to the density of water, or we can also define this as unit weight of soil to the unit weight of water. So unit weight of water of soil, we can express this as gamma S. So if we want to find out unit weight of solid in the soil, then we can express that with the specific gravity also. So if we want to find out specific gravity of the solids only, if we want to find out specific gravity of the solids only, or the unit weight of solids only, so in that case it becomes gamma S upon gamma, sorry, it will be gamma S will be unit weight of soil. So we can define this as weight of soil or weight of solid to the volume of solid. So that becomes the unit weight of soil. Now in this, we can write this in terms of specific gravity also, because in this case, if we want to write the specific gravity, then it becomes unit weight of soil to the unit weight of water. So here, gamma S can also be written as GS into gamma W. So gamma W is the unit weight of water, GS is the specific gravity. So in terms of, unit weight of soil in terms of specific gravity can also be written. So this is what I have explained when we were discussing the specific gravity property. So therefore, in this manner, we can have we can develop various relationship in the soil mechanics, basically. So here, if we have the dry soil, so we can find out dry unit weight of the soil. So dry unit weight of soil will be weight of solid to the total volume of the solid. Similarly, if we have bulk, if we want to find out bulk unit weight, now bulk unit weight is basically for the soil which is having water and air in the water and air in the soil. So in that case, we can find out bulk unit weight also. So bulk unit weight is can be defined as gamma, which is basically the sum of weight of solid to plus weight of water to the volume of solid and volume of void. So in bulk unit weight, we consider weight of solid plus weight of water divided by total volume. So this is how we can define the bulk unit weight of the soil. So there are various formula which can be developed, which we can derive using the specific gravity. So all these relation I am showing you just to show that this specific gravity is very important to calculate various parameters of the soil, so that we can understand to write down the detailed reports of the soil for any particular site. So these are the some of the relations that I have shown you, and they are basically studied in the subject geotechnical engineering. So now we will again go to our slide to go to the next property. So here we will see the specific gravity of some of the soil. So if there is a sandy soil, specific gravity of soil is varies between 2.65 to 2.67. Similarly, if there is a silty soil, the value varies between 2.67. Now, if the soil is having some iron content also, then you can see the specific gravity increases. It has value up to 3 also. Similarly, if there is organic soil are generally not suitable for the foundation. And because here you can see the specific gravity is varies between 1 to 2.6. So generally we don't construct structures in the organic soil because they are not suitable for the foundation construction. So that is the first property, specific gravity of the soil. Now going to the next property of the soil, which is called the density index. Density index. So this property, it basically gives an idea uh, to the degree of compactness. Basically, it is a measure of degree of compactness. Whenever we are constructing any structure on the soil, our first thing is to solidify uh, or to compact the soil where we are going to construct our structure. So that compactness can be measured in terms of density index. Now, if we want to compact our soil, it means we are actually trying to remove the voids in it. So again, as we are discussing voids, so here the role of void ratio comes into the picture. So here density index is expressed in the percentage, and it is defined as the ratio of the difference between the void ratio of a cohesionless soil in the loosest state and any given void ratio to the difference between its void ratio in the loosest and the densest states. Well, we will understand this one by one. First of all, we will see there is a new term in this, cohesionless soil. Basically, this density index, generally we consider this parameter when we have cohesionless soil. What is the meaning of cohesionless soil? Well, we know soil is composed of grains, and if there is no interparticle forces between the grains, for example, the sand, we can distinguish each and every particle of the sand, and therefore sand is considered as cohesionless soil. Similarly, if we have a clay soil particles are, their size is very less. It is less than 2 micron, and we know that 1 micron is equivalent to 0.001 mm. So basically, the size of clay particle is less than 2 micron, and the particles of the clay particles, they actually have intermolecular forces, and that actually develops the cohesion. And therefore, clay soil is known as cohesive soil. So that is the basic difference between sandy and clay soil. Sandy soils are generally cohesionless, and clay soil are cohesive soil because their particles have intermolecular forces. They are attached with each other. But here in the sand, we can distinguish each and every particles in it. We can actually see the particle size because the particle size of the sand is more than 75 micron. So therefore, they can be easily visualized. Now coming to the density index. Density index is basically the ratio. If we write density if we express this density index with D, so it is basically the ratio of void ratio at any particular state minus void ratio. Sorry, density index is basically the ratio of the difference between void ratio at any particular state minus void ratio of the soil at its loosest state, when it will be very loose, which means at that stage it will be having maximum voids. So without compaction, if our soil is loose, then it will be called as the loosest state. So void ratio at loosest state, so and the difference between void ratio from the loosest state to the densest state. So basically, if we compact a soil, if there is a soil, if there is a soil, and if we try to compact it, now before the compaction, what if we try to define it in the loosest state? If we simply take the sand and if we simply dump without compacting, so that will actually be the loosest state. And in that state, if we want to find out the void ratio, so that will be the EL. Now E is the void ratio of any particular soil. So if we want to find out density index of any particular soil, so in that case, it will have some void ratio. So that will be the void ratio for that particular soil minus void ratio of the same soil in the loosest state when it will be very loose. Similarly, the difference between loosest and maximum possible densifying, I mean maximum possible density or dense state of the soil. So when we compact the soil properly to the maximum energy, then obviously the void will be low. Voids will be filled with again with the solid grains. So in that case, void ratio will be very low. So therefore, void ratio will be very less in case of densest state of the soil. So difference between the loosest and densest state, it will be in the denominator. So this is how we can define the density index. So that is the formula. So void ratio at for any particular soil at the natural state, and void ratio of the soil at the loosest state. So that is the in the numerator, and in the denominator we have the difference void ratio of the loosest state minus void ratio in the densest state. So this is how we can define the density index. Now, this density index, it is also known as relative density. It is also known as relative density, and it is sometimes expressed in percentage. Now, if the D value, which I have just shown you the formula, if this D value is between 0 to 15%, which means the soil compactness, I mean, with this we can have the soil compactness. So if this value is up to 15%, we can classify the soil as very loose. If it is between 15 to 35, it will be classified as loose soil. Similarly, if we have higher value, it will be medium compact soil. If it is 65 to 85%, then it will be known as dense soil, which means it will be having good density. And if it is between 85 to 100, then we call the soil as very dense soil. Now, very dense soil will have maximum bearing capacity. So therefore, this property density index, it actually gives an idea of the compactness. So if the value is between 85 to 100%, then we will say that at this percentage we can have the maximum bearing capacity of the soil. So that is the another property of geotechnical property. So we will continue our this discussion, and we will continue, I mean, we will discuss some more geotechnical properties in the next part. Thank you.